And the way she presents that, just, can you feel it? Can you just feel washed through? And it's like, no, wait a minute. What was I irritated about? There was something. Let Sue bring it back. But thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. And one of my favorite songs is what she opened with, I See You. And the reason that song is so valuable to me is I believe that we are a people in this center that strive to really allow ourselves to be seen, the most authentic part of ourselves to be seen. And there is the idea of when we're in that space, in its present moment, you can feel it. When you're in that space, we really do have those that are before us reflect back love. The eyes just become a mirror of that depth of knowing Spirit and God. And there is a practice of awareness, is what I'm going to be talking to again and again today. But this idea of awareness is a level of consciousness that I invite us all to take the journey towards, because we have that area of our operating brain and the limbic system and all of the ordinary consciousness with which we move through our everyday life. And it gets us around, and it helps to create a personality around who we are and a way of being. And it holds all our sacred memories and the challenges of who we are. It becomes us. But there is so much more. And this is what spiritual longing, why there is something in your heart that keeps saying, there is something more for me to understand. The spiritual journey here with all of you is to tap and to hold hands together into that higher consciousness where I see you and you see me in the authenticity of truth. So that's the pleasure of this song. When I seek your light, I find my own. When I search for strength in the hand I hold, that's me holding up heaven to you. This is how we create a world that works for all, because you spent the time to polish your own heart, to really recognize what's going through you. And Damien read this so beautifully about thoughts and feelings, and all about let it be just like the banks of the river. And then she delivers this beautiful song, allowing the river to flow into the sea. So when we speak of God as the individual, and we are the individual connection to God, and that so God dwells within each one of us as us, we say those words and they become mind words, but I invite you to let them be your heart connection to the words. And so as within, so without. What you're looking at, you're looking with. Think about that, because we're going to present a short video clip of one of my favorite movies, but it's pointing to this idea of the witness self. What is that witness self? We have this dialogue that goes on within our own head all the time. And if you really take time to contemplate and soul search those voices, they are the voices of the many personality aspects of who you are. Sometimes the voices are kind of snotty, and sometimes they're very authoritarian and judgmental, and sometimes they're very loving, and sometimes it feels like two are talking at once. Sometimes it feels like five are talking at once. And you think, well, just stop it. But it's the nature of mind itself to continue to think thought. It just does it. It can't help but stop. But behind that, sitting superior to that, is the witness, is the one, is your God self, just non-judging and just looking, just breathing with you and asking you to look more deeply. So here's where it comes, this idea, which is always, and I've shared this before, has always rubbed me the wrong way when I really want to be irritated with something out in my world. And I try to hold up around other people that when I get home with Charlie, I'll just like, and I can feel him, fade into the phone or deeply listen. And oftentimes when he's deeply listening, he reflects back to me what I need to hear or what I need to know. And sometimes he'll try to tell me, in trying to get me out of my cycle of loop of thought, that maybe it is the other person. But I know in my heart it's not. It is for me to really deliver the absolute truth to my heart, to absolutely see why this is bugging me. It is not about them. That other person does not have to change. Now, there's a story from this book that I took a lot of my sharing with you today, Anthony DeMello's Awareness, one of my favorite teachers of all time. And he speaks of how this man goes into a bar, and he has a banana in his ear. And so the person sitting there going, that guy's got a banana in his ear. I think I should tell him that he's got a banana in his ear. And then he thought, no, it's not my place to tell him that he's got a banana in his ear. But the guy's just going around with this banana sticking out of his ear. And so finally he couldn't contain himself. And he said, sir, you have a banana in your ear. And the man just went on doing what he was doing. And he goes, sir, excuse me, you have a banana in your ear. And the man just was oblivious. And so finally he shouted, mister, you have a banana in your ear. And the man was stunned, and he said, oh, excuse me, I couldn't hear you. I have a banana in my ear. And so I'm looking at that going, what is this about? But you see, oftentimes we want to point to somebody and tell them, you got a banana in your ear, will you please change? And they're perfectly happy with the banana in their ear. They don't have to change. And so it is not up to us to point out other people's bananas, whatever that might be. Okay? So it might not be an obvious banana, but it could be something that I just want to help them. I just know that my words of wisdom, even though they weren't asked for, will help them. No, that person needs to remove his own banana, and so do you. So the point is, I don't know what the point is, but you can take that story and try to make a point of it, but I thought it was funny. But the idea that we believe that we are, Ernest Holmes says, we believe that we are surrounded by this creative mind that receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon us. So a lot of the talk around the Centers for Spiritual Living today that are using this idea, as within, so without, are dwelling on this idea of as I give, so shall I receive. And I know that we have spoken to this many times, but I want to point to that higher knowing, to that place where I want us to recognize what is limiting us. So we all know those moments. So if it is indeed our banana to work on, we need to really take that into some soul searching. Not to identify so much with the banana. Here I'm getting it. The banana, I understand it now. But it's not so much for us to take that and to stuff it somewhere in us. It's to try to really understand what's going on for you personally, so that you can see with greater clarity out in the world. So sometimes those sticky things come for us to dwell a little bit longer. If it was all happy and easy, we would just go, oh, that was just so pleasant. But I can't remember what they said, but they said something really nice. But we do remember when it sticks, when we get a little bit hurt feelings about something, right? Those things stick longer. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, as I said in the earlier service, think of politics and you'll understand where I'm going if you're in a real happy river place right now. Thanks, Holly. I can't get them back there. But if you understand that, you recognize, to me, it's like, I think of it as a stone. I used to have one of those rock tumblers, and you'd pick up any old rock and you'd put it in that tumbler and you'd think, oh, I'm going to get such a beautiful gem. But it was so dang noisy, wasn't it? I'd put it out. My mom was really mad. I put it out on the back porch. I put it in the garage. I put it clear out in the field, but you could hear the rocks tumbling. Sometimes that feels like when we're trying to polish that stone or polish that idea, that gem that someone's action has caused us to stew upon, we can feel that it's just rumbling and tumbling inside of us. So with those brings you the feelings and the emotions, which Damien so beautifully read to you about. And you're looking at that with what Michael Singer, another author that I favor, wrote The Untethered Soul, and he speaks to it like this: when we have the lucid self, it is the lucid self that is the witness self, the lucid part of you. that sees all without any judgment. So he speaks to it, true personal growth, and this is what you all long for in the depth of your heart. I'm just sure of it. It's the calling of all of our hearts. The true personal growth is about transcending the part of you that is not okay. We want to try to transcend that part of you that is not okay and needs protection. This is done by constantly remembering that you are the one inside that notices that the voice is talking. That is the way out. That is the only way out. The one inside who is aware that you are always talking to yourself about yourself is always silent. It is the doorway to the depth of your being. To be aware that you are watching the voice talk is to stand on the threshold of a fantastic inner journey. If used properly, the same mental voice that has been a source of worry, distraction, and general neurosis can become the launching ground for true spiritual awakening. Come to know the one that is watching the voice, and you will come to know the great mystery of creation. Isn't that exciting to be in that witness state? Reverend Pam, for many times now, has presented the idea of the presence process, and she will be doing it again. The more you can sit with what is in the present moment, your mind, your heart, in present moment is right here. So when you are in that and you start to explore the many emotions that move through us, you begin to have a greater sense of ease of letting them pass through you. You can say, so anger's with me today. Welcome, anger. But not saying, I am anger. Welcome it. See it. Dialogue with it till you find the kernel of truth. So with that lead in, I'm going to share with you this movie, Inside Out. I want you to watch. It's just brief. I'm just showing you the very intro of it. But this is the birth of consciousness, and you will see that joy, pure joy, is what is recognized first and foremost. It is a God quality. It is that which dwells within us as us. It is how God sees all that there is through you. So watch for joy and let her dance inside of you. And Damien, thank you so much. He's running all over. He truly is. So we have a collection of money just to praise him and raise him up. I don't know. Thank you so much. And then Charlie's going to do the lights. I just invite you to sit back and enjoy and muse over this and watch what speaks to you. There's so much to that, like the blank screen with which the consciousness first started and the joy peering out through that as the eyes open to the world, and then things begin to imprint itself upon Riley's little world. And so the whole story, recognizing also, did you see where joy didn't quite know what to do with sadness when sadness came? But that's what we sometimes do. And sadness and the shadow side of who we are, we sometimes don't know what to do. So we maybe lean into it or bump it around a little bit or push it over, but it's still there, and it's there for a reason, and it's there for us to look more deeply into our own self. So in Science of Mind, it says, right thought constantly poured into consciousness will eventually purify it. Discord might be likened to a bottle of impure water. Healing might be likened to the process of dropping pure water into the bottle a drop at a time until the whole is pure and clean. Someone might ask why the bottle could not just be turned upside down and drained out all at once. But sometimes this can happen, but not always. Meanwhile, a drop at a time will finally eliminate the impurities and produce the healing. So the walk away with this is to recognize the empowerment of knowing that you are the witness in that command station that is watching all of this play out inside of you with the voices going on, all of the different emotions. And as you recognize that and you stand in the truth with this affirmation that was presented in this week's lesson, I am free from any and all discord as I turn to the divine harmony already and always within me. The divine harmony always, already within me. So, you know, the moments where we feel the green disgust, start to shine out through our experience, and I Again, going back to the original song of I See, the eyes are a mirror of your soul. And the idea is if we can start to recognize that we're no longer, this is the way true awareness works, let us not grasp at our world. Let us not see things with hardened eyes and hardened opinions and then just try to drink them in and put them in some little ball that will find its way into a memory bank somewhere. If it's something that we no longer find useful to the greater good of all. So remember, the change must come from within. So if we start to see our world with softer eyes, with eyes that are like window panes, that we start just looking out through our eyes into present moment and seeing greater beauty and seeing the people that are speaking before us, not how we have pigeonholed them before, even if they are partners of a lifetime that have been doing, something in your family. Try to see them with the mirrors of the soul, with eyes that are clear and your heart's polished, and let that lucid self, that part of you that is seeing all this in the vision out before you, let it be seen with eyes of love. So we find that all our beliefs have given us a security in a lifetime. But if you really truly want to change the world, you must change yourself first. And that means allowing the rivers to flow and recognize that the reactions that we're having really aren't the true us. They're not present moment. The true us can observe a little bit longer to see what the I am is trying to call forward in your heart. Awareness, though, is one of the first things that you try to cultivate. Get aware of what's going on. Be aware. That's present moment. Be aware of the thoughts. And recognize them, that it's part of the me inside of you that is thinking that, but it's not the I. Because remember, the I am is the ultimate God self within you. And so think about that simple statement. It is such a powerful statement, I am. And then you add to that what you want to be. I am love. Not I am depressed, I am angry. No, anger is right now through me, but I'm going to let it wash through, like Damien said, through the river. Let it flow on out. Let it make its course through me, carve out the ways I need to see more deeply, and then let it be free. Let this tension go. Everything can change when you allow this partnering of your joy and your sadness, and just partner up with it in a way that no one else needs to take on the brunt of what you're experiencing, just you as you polish the way. It will stir inside of you what it awakens. This is so beautiful. It awakens your heart. It awakens empathy and joy. And so you want to recognize we have many memories stored within us. We have repressed ideas of who we are. We have some slippery associations, as it's called. And we also have these core beliefs. And oftentimes, when you're in the company of all of that, it can be where you need to recreate that story. And Orson Welles says, if you want a happy ending, that depends, of course, on where you stop your story. Think about that. Where are you stopping your story? Are you staying in suffering? Know the difference between being aware that you are aware in daily life and not being aware that you're aware. When you're aware being, you no longer become completely immersed in all the events around you. Instead, you remain inwardly aware that you are the one experiencing the event, and then inside of you, the thought and the emotion and all the energy and the voice that's inside of you. And Rama Mani Maharishi was always inviting the question in your spiritual practice. When you sit down to meditate and you dwell into that place of silence, remember, the mind will still create thought, but behind that, there is a blanket of silence. We long and we yearn to sit in the lap of that silence. And when we do, the voice inside of your head says, who am I? The greatest growth is knowing that you're not the voice of the torment or the depression. It's just built up a pressure inside of you, and it's just trying to be expressed. It's just releasing its energy. So cultivate the awareness around it, because that's a higher level of consciousness, and it comes from a place of absolute love. Just watch yourself. Observe. No one else can tell you how to do this. You have been programmed a very unique and special way, and it has brought you into awareness all your own. But by repressing it, it will not change. So you bring light to it. What is light? Light is consciousness. Light is awareness. The Zen saying is, don't seek any truth, just drop all your opinions. Just drop all your opinions. And you know, there is the idea, and we sometimes find it amusing, when a fish in the sea keeps saying, where's the water? And you're going, you're in it. We're going, where's God? We're in it. This is it. And when we allow ourselves to be in the present moment, the awe, the beauty, the clarity, the window panes of our eyes, the heart of our soul, love pours out through us, and our whole world is seen differently. So we don't want to block the vision of God. We want to allow God to see what's going on in the very present moment. So we have often seen just our impressions that fixed God a certain way. And that's only a fragment of the vision. It's as if someone wanted to know what a gale of wind was, so you capture it in a paper bag and you come back and you go, see? And it's not there because it's not the present moment anymore. And the same with the river, going to the river and somebody saying, what is the river like? What is this rushing river like? And you bring a bucket back and you go, see? No. The journey has to be individual, and you will need to allow yourself to witness it from your own heart. I'm going over just a smidgen, but I want to finish with some of these thoughts. There's an Oriental sage that said this: think about being the lucid self, being in that place where you're not grasping at the vision, but you're just open-armed, open heart, breathing, feeling, letting the breath, that divine breath, be the divine conduit that allows all impressions and feelings to continue to move through you. The Oriental sage says, if the eye is unobstructed, it results in sight. If the ear is unobstructed, the result is hearing. If the nose is unobstructed, the result is a sense of smell. If the mouth is unobstructed, the result is taste. If the mind is unobstructed, the result is wisdom. And Anthony DeMello added this: if the heart is unobstructed, the result is love. So this change that we want to see sometimes out in our world, first though must take place within you. And when you become the spiritual warrior and you carry that truth in your heart, the world transforms around you, and people seek that wisdom from you to allow that change to happen within their own souls as well. There was, I thought this was funny, that oftentimes you're in a space where you're just not enjoying it. And George Bernard Shaw was at such a party, and he was asked if he was enjoying himself at this dull cocktail party, and he said, "It's the only thing I'm enjoying here." So I found that particularly amusing. You know, we can bring the self to any situation, and really, it's not the outer circumstances. Enjoy the self you bring. When you get a feel for the change that you think about in your head, you drop it to the heart and you allow this change to be made manifest. So what am I, in a nutshell, saying is to take some of your feelings, some of your thoughts. Don't identify with them that they are you, but feel it, not outside of you. Feel it inside, and just feel it, and then just let it continue to go. Now, while Judy plays this music tonight, I wanted to share with you tonight. I've got your ear all night. Oh, sorry. You want to enjoy your day? I wanted to share, I've had the privilege of working with practitioner students all year, and I'm going to share how they've been doing this. They've been looking at their thoughts and their feelings. They've been journaling, dialoguing, and sharing, and purifying their heart, and finding a place where they strip away their beliefs and they stand strong in the avenue of absolute faith. And what is faith? Faith is not quite knowing what's going to happen, so it's a little shaky place. But faith, your heart is led into there, and you absolutely know that truth will be revealed. So one of the students, go ahead, Judy, please. As I look out my office window, as I type this, I see you, beauty. In the blue juniper that grows and grows and grows, it reaches its arms towards me, as it always sways in the wind. The coral roses open up and bow to the lavender blossoms beside it. The petals are dropping now as the summer sun makes its debut. I see you, God, in the changing seasons, in the growing trees, in everything. I know and I am grateful. I am so grateful that you are everywhere, and all your creation is an expression of you. I am an expression of you, an extension, really. As the sun shines, it sends down rays. The ray is not the sun, but an extension of that sun. A wave is not the ocean, but an extension of the ocean. The branch of the tree is not the tree, but the outreaching arm of that tree. I am the ray, I am the wave, I am the branch. And as part of this journey I am on, I accept that growing in all areas, including spiritually, which really can't be separated out, for it is interwoven in everything. Each day I grow spiritually strong, just as the oak anchors down in the earth and reaches to the sky. All I need to do is look at the oak to see my destiny. For all these signs and synchronicities, I am so grateful. There is wonder in almost everything I see. My heart dances in a field of wildflowers, untamed with a rogue gratitude. Thank you, God, thank you. I toss these thoughts into the air, knowing that they are so, and so be it, and so it is. And as another one, please. God is ever present, always loving, nurturing all that grows and has life in this world and in the universe. This loving, nurturing presence is in my heart, my mind, my soul. The richness gives definition and meaning to all my experience and reveals its wisdom in quiet moments. It is the grace that flows to me in the moments of surrender, as well as the moments of determination. God is the still, small voice that echoes throughout nature and the thundering expression of my intuitive thought. I recognize that every day I'm alive, I'm led to the closeness with my God through my relationships with those who are in my life. I follow the course that my heart and soul agree upon. I open myself to love, to trust, to truth, and am a being as authentic as I know how to be in the moment. I am teachable, and my heart follows the path I have chosen to walk in clarity in my life and in my soul's purpose. I feel the nearness of this divine love and grace as I turn to God and God turns to me. Only the highest and the best good can follow the intentions set with my open heart. I am no longer impatient with myself for not following the path that has been traveled before me by others who do not have the same dream as I have. I celebrate my own spirit. I have full confidence that I am led to where I need to be one day at a time. I am so deeply grateful that I feel God's infinite love by my ability to love fiercely and tenderly, and I surrender into the arms of compassion. I give thanks for my ability to give, to receive love that flows to me and from me with abundance. I am grateful that I can move in obedience to the web of life and see my path more clearly as I grow closer to my goal. The goals of speaking with honesty and truth, being more authentic and teachable, are constantly being revealed to me daily. I know this is done right here, right now, as I speak my word into the law and into the love that always brings my heart it desires to fruition. I surrender, I let go. God is knowing that all is well, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. So those are the polished words of two of the students that went through just as you, and they chose to take a class and to say, I'm not going to just bring my superficial self here. I am going to strip away until you see the raw of me. And in that raw of me, God is revealed. And God is revealed in those beautiful words. And I close with this from Yogananda. Behold the altar of God in the stars, beneath the earth, behind the throb of your feelings, the Master said. He, the neglected reality, is hidden everywhere. If you follow the path steadfastly and meditate regularly, you will see him in a golden robe of light that spreads throughout eternity. Behind each thought, you will feel his blissful presence. God is not just to be talked about, so many have spoken about him, many have wondered, many have read, but few have tasted his joy. Only those few who know him, and when you know him, you no longer stand aside and worship him. You become one with him. Then, as Jesus and all masters have said, so may you say, I and my Father are one.